sack. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again to the 35.
Hungry dogs run faster.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Heaven Juice with OJ. Today, we are back with last week's guest, Juan Gonzalez. What's good, bro?
What's going on? Back to talk some ball.
Yeah, of course. I mean, after, I think it was almost 2 weeks ago now, we discussed the Celtics. We expressed Game 7 vibes. How are we feeling about the series so far after they take a crazy 3-0 lead?
Yeah, the games, the 7-game, 6-game, it looks a little bad in hindsight. But I feel like when we talked about it, the Mavs were just coming off 3 pretty good series, and it was kind of hard to see. And in the same breath, the Celtics tend to play down.
Yeah.
On paper, we talked about this. On paper, the Celtics, by far the better team, should be up 3-0 when you just simply look at stats. But when you watch the games, you realize they swept the Pacers, but all hard games for the most part. You know, same thing with their round 1 series. It's like they just find ways to kind of play down to teams, and you know, maybe I just kind of assumed that was also going to happen. And to their credit, they've come out on all cylinders. Joe Mazzulla has them going. They're making the right reads. It's good basketball.
I heard something about how Joe Mazzulla actually has them watching like UFC fights and stuff like that to kind of like show that no matter what, if you're up 3-0, you have to step on that person's neck because they can switch it.
Yeah.
So he's showing fights of people at the end like where they think they have it and they take their time and then they lose.
Right.
So that's what Jason Tatum was saying, and I was like, that is one of the coolest stories I heard for him to be showing his team because, yeah, it's right. You're up 3-0, but you never know. It could switch. Like we watched LeBron do it.
And you've seen Dallas kind of find a groove a little bit, and especially towards the end of Game 2, I felt like Kyrie kind of was getting it going. The fourth quarter, he was picking it up, and they kind of started to make a comeback. Game 3, he came out and he was on fire. So that's also a factor, is that he's been a non-factor.
Yeah.
And to your credit, like what you were saying, you never know when Kyrie and Luka are just gonna both pop off for 40, and then it's 3-1, and then you come back and it's 3-2, and then next thing you know, you're just getting more and more anxious. So I agree. You just gotta. I was watching ESPN earlier, and they were talking about how they think the Celtics are so locked in that there's not even a chance that it goes past 4 games. And I kind of agree. I think that they are that locked in. They're that focused. Like, they just make all the right reads, all the right passes, and then they make great adjustments throughout the game. It's, like I was saying, it's good basketball to watch, and it pains me to say, but you got to give credit sometimes.
100%. KP going out for Game 3 was definitely a scare for Celtics fans. For Mavericks fans, they were feeling pretty good going into that Game 3, thinking they're going to win it at home. Having a 21-point lead and almost crippling that. That was one of the most interesting parts of last night's game. I really got scared when they started getting closer, because you've got 2 of the best closers in the game in the Mavs, but they still couldn't do it with the Celtics' 3rd or 4th best player out there. And, I mean, it looks like a sweep right now. But who knows when this episode comes out?
Yeah,
it could not be.
We said it was going 7 last time. It's 3-0 now. So, yeah, it's not like it's been bad to watch. Like, these games have been fun to watch for the most part. It's been a lot of runs. It's been a lot of the Celtics going up 10 and the Mavericks clawing their way back, and then the Celtics go up 10 again and the Mavs claw their way back. And it's just one of those. Game 1, you know, it's 37-20 at the end of the first quarter. You come out down 17 at the end of the first quarter. What are you going to really do? And the fact that they even made it as close as they did to a certain point, credit to them. Game 2, it just didn't seem like they were really there. Game 2, Kyrie was absolutely quiet. Luka did his thing, but nobody else on the bench did anything. None of the other starters did anything. And then Game 3, once they start facilitating more, once you see other players putting the ball in the hoop is when the Mavericks are going to be at their best. And it's a road to climb for sure for them, but yeah, it's pretty much over.
Yeah,
it's pretty much
Celtics
over.
Got that one. I can guarantee it again that they are winning this. That's amazing for me to hear. It sucks for a Philly fan to hear, but that's what's going to happen. And from this conversation, we're going to move right in and reminisce a little bit, Juan. And we're going to reminisce about our top 5 favorite top performers, but they had to be the Finals MVP.
Okay.
So they had to be Finals MVP. We're going to go through our top 5. I have mine written down. He has his written down. Juan, why don't you kick us off with yours? We'll go one by one.
Gotcha. So looking back on this list was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I started with fairly recent ones, and then I got more into like when I was growing up, the Kobe's and the
wait.
Dirks.
Also, by the way, it's like in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Like we're doing our lifetime. We're not doing all time.
Yeah. So one of the main ones that I remember, and it kind of goes back to what we were just talking about, being a Philly fan, watching Kawhi in 2019 was just a robot. That's what it felt like. It was just at no wasted movements. Everything was efficient. Everything was going in. Watching him in that finals against a beaten down Warriors team, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Was still just it was impressive. You know, he averaged what I got here 28.5 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 4.2 assists over 6 games. And at that time, everybody was saying he was the best player in the world. And so that to me, that was one of the main ones that I sat there and I was like, yeah, that was cool. Like I really remember watching that. You going for your next one?
Yeah. I'll go my most recent one. This is probably not in order. I'm just going to spit these out.
Yeah.
But Giannis in 2021.
Yeah.
I mean, he was dominant. I mean, Bucks Suns. I feel like people were leaning Suns a little bit.
I agree.
Yeah. He had 35 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, over 1 steal and 1.8 blocks. This man was an absolute beast. In the closeout game in Game 6, he had 50 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 blocks to win the series.
Yeah, dominant.
There was nothing about that wasn't impressive.
No, that was another one where you just sit there and you're like, one, how do people do this? Like, how are people so good at basketball?
Yeah.
Like, they make it look so effortless. And mind you, he's a giant, right? He's like, almost 7 feet tall, crazy wingspan, crazy athletic. But you just can't not be in awe watching performances like that. I agree. He's got to be on there.
And also, they lost the first 2 games.
Yeah.
So they won 4 in a row after that,
Yeah.
which was pretty damn cool.
Chris Paul addicted to the finals.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you're up, bro.
Kobe in 2010, revenge on my man Celtics right here. One, I just grew up a massive Kobe fan, so that's another one. That was one of the main. I think I was 12, so that's when I was really starting to get into like watching sports and sitting down and like fully realizing what I was watching and watching Kobe just go off game after game after game, except Game 7. Game 7, he was a little lackluster, but for the series, he put up 28.6, 8 boards, 3.9 assists, and it went 7. And for the most part, it was him and Powell. Couple, they had pieces here and there, but they were going against a stacked Celtics team. And just watching Kobe do that, watching him hit the fadeaways, watching him just take tough shot after tough shot. It's, again, one of those like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's dope to watch. I definitely agree. That was a great one. I'm going to go down by year. So I just started at 2021. I'm going down to 2017, KD. I mean, against the Cavs, 35.2 points per game, 8.2 rebounds per game, 5.4 assists, 1 steal, 1.6 blocks. The Cavs only won 1 game, Game 4. And KD was just dominant. I mean, watching him play, yes, you can say they had like such a good lineup and stuff like that, which they did. They had a great lineup, but they were versing also one of the GOATs. You got something to say?
No, I don't. I think that the argument that his lineup was great is true, but in the same breath, like, how can you, like, keep saying this, how can you not watch him play and appreciate greatness?
Literally.
How do you watch him do what he's doing, putting up 35, and then sit here and say, oh, but his team? Sure, I get it, right? Bad move to go over there, but no, that's dominant no matter what, no matter who's on the roster.
And they had Zaza as their center.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, you really just had Steph, Clay, KD, and Draymond, which that's 4 Hall of Famers.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah, which is great. But you're versing a Kyrie Irving, J.R. Smith, LeBron, Kevin Love, and Tristan. I mean, that's a very hard team to be versing. So watching him just average 35 points like it's nothing, it's great. So I love that. That's my second.
Gotcha. So it's kind of piggyback on that. I actually had KD in 2018, kind of what I was just saying. Like, just clutch moment after clutch moment. Every game, they swept them. And some of the games were close somewhere, but for the most part, KD was the one just going crazy. He had 43 in Game 4 on 65% shooting. Over 40 points on 65% shooting in the finals. Like we just keep saying dominant, right? And then the stats weren't insane in game 4, but he put up a triple double to close him out.
Yeah.
So again, it's just one of those like, yeah, have to watch it and be like that. You got to give him his credit.
You
Again,
have
you
to.
can say
You
what
got to
you
give them
want,
flowers.
but you got to give him his credit. I can't get over the 43 on 65% shooting. It's insane to me.
43 on 65 is hard to do for the people sitting at home that think
Yeah.
that they can drop some buckets in the NBA.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to be doing.
And finals defense where they're just locked in.
Everyone's locked in. For me, for my third, I'm kind of going off of your Kobe thing. I had Kobe in 2009. That performance, he averaged 32.4 points per game, 5.6 rebounds per game, 7.5 assists per game, 1.4 steals and blocks, the same exact number. Magic only won game 3.
Yeah, one game.
Yeah. And again, they had a great backcourt in Derek Fisher and Kobe. I mean, that's one of the best backcourts of all time,
sure.
in my opinion. Outside of that, you're versing a Dwight Howard, who,
I remember that team
yeah,
vividly.
yeah,
Hito Turkoglu.
yes.
Michael Petrus was on that team, right?
Not a starter.
No. He came off the bench,
yeah,
right?
he came from the bench, but yeah, absolute dominant series, winning 4-1 from Kobe, back-to-back years. That was like when we were growing up. That was it.
That's what I was saying earlier.
Like 2008 is when I feel like 2007, 2008 is when I feel like I just started to understand sports to the fullest of my extent. Before that, like anything that I remember before that is probably through YouTube and through me like watching highlights and going through the footage again myself. Right. But I would say 2008, 2009, I gained consciousness about sports. And 2009, Kobe, I mean, just watching Kobe, we were Kobe guys.
Yeah.
That's where we grew up.
And that was like, peak Kobe Bron debates, you know. And yeah, I was always a Kobe guy. Always a Kobe guy. But yeah, was Jameer Nelson on that Magic team?
Not starting. No, he wasn't starting. It was
Jameer.
It was like Alston, Courtney Lee. Yeah, like Rashard Lewis.
Yeah. OG stretch forward.
So he had some of those people. It was a good team. I mean, you would, if you didn't know ball, you would look at those names and be like,
yeah,
what? But they were some ballers. Like, don't get me wrong, but the Lakers had Trevor Ariza,
right?
Pau Gasol,
yep.
Absolute dominance. Andrew Bynum was dominant back then.
I don't know how, as a Philly fan, I forgot about Andrew Bynum, but I forgot about Andrew.
I mean,
Bynum.
playing 2K,
yeah,
it was fun. It was fun to use that team.
It's still fun using those teams. Like, I'll play with my friends and we just do all-time rosters.
All-time rosters are the best.
Yeah.
You got your next one?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can't talk about Finals MVPs without talking about 2016 LeBron.
He was my last and not
just
least.
Insane, man. He was 29.7, 11.3, 8.9 over 7 games. He had 41 in both games 5 and 6, and he was just, when you look at the box score of the steals, it was like 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, and then the blocks 4, 3, 1. Like it was, he was literally everywhere on the floor. Insane. That whole series was insane. That was my senior year of high school. I remember watching that game 7, sitting there with my friends, like towards the end of our senior year. Like, this is like peak childhood almost. You know? And watching that, it was just great. Like LeBron, that was what kind of flipped me on LeBron. I was kind of a LeBron hater growing up, and watching 2016.
Nah, no way, really.
I was a big LeBron hater growing up. And watching that, I was like, all right, I can't really hate the man anymore. Like, again, just appreciate what they're doing. It's insane to watch. And he had Kyrie next. Yeah, insane. That whole series was so much fun to watch. Yeah, LeBron 2016.
That's yours, 2016?
Yep.
Yeah, Juan took mine on that one. That's the only one we agree with here, I think. 2016 LeBron is the GOAT. That's when everybody really switched their conversations on him, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, overcoming a 3-1 lead, bro.
Yep.
When you're versing such a dominant team like the 73-win team, the Warriors.
Yeah.
Just an absolute dynasty that they were versing. Being able to do that, and then also just reminiscing on Game 7 when he had the chase down block on Iguodala. And then the Kyrie last minute 3 was huge. Like, it just gives me chills thinking about that game. I went back and watched the last couple minutes when I wrote this one down because 2016 Bron was different.
I don't remember if it was Game 3 or Game 2 of the Mavs Celtics series, but Kyrie took a very similar fadeaway 3, and I was like, I've seen that before.
I've seen that. Actually, did you see him try to do it yesterday?
I think it
was right in the corner right side.
Yep, yeah, I think it was.
He tries to do a little step back and hit it. He bricked it.
Yeah,
he bricked it. but he's hit it before.
Yeah.
He bricked it, but he's hit it before. So, yeah, I'd have to go that one. Then I'll bounce my last one, then you get it.
All right.
Yeah, this one is one that I don't remember in person, but I've done a lot of research on it, and I've watched it multiple times. The Dwayne Wade 2006 Heat versus Mavs. 34.7 points per game, 7.8 rebounds per game, 3.8 assists per game, 2.7 steals and 1 block. They were also down 0-2 and then come to win the next 4. That was the Heat's first championship, I believe.
It was.
He was a dog. I mean, prime Dwayne Wade was absolutely insane until his knees started buckling and having some issues. In the last 4 games, he scored at least 36 points. And he had 2 games, specific 2 games that I remember the most. Where Game 3, he had 43 and 13 rebounds. Or 42 and 13 rebounds, sorry, people. And Game 5, he had 43.
Yeah.
It was just a dominant performance, and I had to include that in my top 5 because I've watched it multiple times on YouTube.
He was so young, too. I think that was his second year in the league or something like that.
He was very young.
Him and Shaq. Those are the only 2 players I can really name off that roster.
Here, I'll give you the roster right now.
Was Mourning on that roster?
I've got you right here, buddy. Yeah. It's taking me longer than it needs to for me to find it in my notes. Yeah, here we go. Dwayne Wade, Walker. We got my Antoine Walker.
Oh, Antoine. All right.
I totally forgot about him.
Celtics legend.
Haslam.
Okay.
Jason Williams.
Oh, White Chocolate.
Yeah, White Chocolate was on that, John. And Shaq, of course. And they were versing Jason Terry, Josh Howard, Dirk, Diop. Yeah, and Dan Pierre. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, cool. But that was a really good win by them. I mean, going down 0-2 in the finals in general is hard to come back from. Yeah. So just the fact that he was able to dominate like that, and especially games that could have ended it, which is Game 3 and Game 5, those could have basically ended the series for them.
Yeah.
Huge. So that's my last one for the day. What is your last one?
One that I didn't plan on including here, and then as I kept looking, I was like, I don't know how you don't. The Dirk series in 2011 against the Heat. And that was just one of those where he had to do it all. He was legitimately carrying them throughout the whole game. So he averaged 26 flat, 9.7 rebounds, and 2 assists over 6 games. And Game 2, so they lose Game 1. Game 3, he hit a 3 in Game 2 with 26 seconds left to give them the lead. He hit a 3 to tie it, and then he comes down, hits a layup with 3 seconds left to win. That's Game 2. Game 3, he keeps them in the game the whole time. He literally just keeps tying the game. They would go down 5, he would come down and hit a 3 and a 2. Keeps them in the game, then he hits a clutch layup with 14 seconds left to win. Game 4, same thing. Literally, almost an identical copy of what it is. It's just clutch play after clutch play, clutch series after clutch series. The Heat would be up 10, and the next thing you know, the Mavs are down 2, and the next thing you know, Dirk is just driving and putting in a layup. Or he's hitting a pick and roll, and he's fading back on the 3, and he's hitting a 3. It was just insane to just keep watching them do it over and over and over again. And then in the closeout game, he just led them the whole time. They were basically up 10 the whole game. It was like he was not going to let that slip out of his hands. And I think that's one of those ones. And he did it throughout that whole playoff run. Every single series, he had to just will them to wins. And watching that back, I was like, I feel like this has to be on my list for sure. Dirk in 2011, it was just insanely impressive.
It was very impressive what he did against LeBron. I mean, excuse me, definitely a little bit earlier in LeBron's career in terms of just making it there.
That was year 1 in Miami, right?
Yeah. And That's a tough loss. I mean, everybody pins that loss on him. If you're having a LeBron debate, everyone brings up 2011 and what Dirk did to him. But that was like prime Dirk of just snapping. Like he was just unguardable power forward.
Yeah.
He's one of the greats. Cannot hate on that. That's our top 5 guys. I mean, you got to let us know what your top 5 would be, because those are some amazing finals MVPs that we went through. And I'm going to ask you a little bit about this because I was just listening to the Fanatics talk on the radio, and they were talking about championship aura. Okay, so they were like, I don't know what we're going to do anymore in Philadelphia as a Sixers fan now that the Celtics could potentially be getting this championship aura, which leads teams to go on runs, apparently, is just the fact of winning. What do you say to them talking about that on the Fanatics right now?
So they're worried that the Celtics winning one is going to catapult them, catapult the Celtics.
Mm-hmm. Like to a point of no return is what they're saying.
What did I have last week on here? I had something along the lines of the Celtics have been in the Eastern Conference Finals 6 times in the last 8 years.
Yeah.
Right? And while they haven't won a championship, that means that they have already been a championship pedigree team. Mm-hmm. There's nothing you can tell me that winning one championship is all of a sudden going to put them on some sort of pedestal that they're not already on.
Yeah.
They're already the best team in the East. Mm-hmm. Pains me to say it, but they're the best team in the East. Top to bottom, their roster's stacked. They've got a great coach. They have a good GM. Them winning a championship doesn't change anything to me. This is what they should be doing. They should already have one, So I hear that and I think, I think that's more just we love to make excuses here in Philly. The Celtics won a championship, so now we can't. That doesn't make any sense to me, Like they are a great team, top to bottom. Them winning a championship, sure, it'll probably give them more motivation. Yeah, I can see that. But in the same breath, now you've got targets on your back. Now teams know that they have to take you down. But they've been there before. I don't like it. They were bored today. I had to talk about something on the radio, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that way whenever I listen to the radio.
Sports radio in Philly has gone really bad.
The callers is what gets me.
The callers are hilarious. I think they're hilarious.
Definitely. Well, Juan, thank you so much. Just a little bit shorter of an episode for the people at home. Just kind of breaking it down because this is the last chance we have to really kind of talk ball before we really switch gears into some baseball talk.
Into some baseball.
Yeah, baseball talk will be coming soon. Actually, before we end this, right before I told you, the Yankees are playing right now, and I have money on them. And they were down 2-0, went up 3-2, and in the middle of this episode, I have my notes on my phone, and bam, it says the Royals win 4-3 in the bottom of the ninth. I almost had to bring it up in the middle of the episode, but I had to wait till the end because that really frustrated me. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Like, comment, subscribe below. And Juan, thank you so much for coming in. And let's get it, boys.
Yes, sir.
In trouble. He's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away.